The NHL's next big star is Connor Bedard. He only needs to wait 1 year. Connor Bedard, the most intriguing potential NHL player present at this week's draft, wasn't a candidate for selection, but he'll be ready when the time comes. How is Connor Bedard the upcoming NHL legend? Elite teen hockey players in suits, ties, and worried expressions sat in the Bell Center audience as they awaited the NHL draft to hear their names called. In contrast to the majority of current prospects, no prospect had proven to be the best of his year, so rumors and speculation abounded. Since there hadn't been any real tension surrounding the first overall pick, it had been the wooden stick era. In row B of section 103, another teen was sporting an indigo golf shirt, matching slacks, and a toothy smile. The second highest goal scorer in the Western Hockey League last season was Connor Bedard, a center for the Regina Pats, who totaled 51 goals in 62 games. 32 prospects walked up to the stage and pulled team sweaters over their heads as Bedard watched for 4 hours. Although he outperformed 6 players in the WHL and other players internationally, his name was not called. It wasn't a matter of uncertainty about his performance or personality. He was only in the stands because, according to his learner's permit for driving, he wouldn't turn 17 until later this month and wasn't yet old enough to be drafted. In the 2023 NHL entry draft, Bedard is likely to be selected first overall, but that is just the beginning. He has been named, branded, and possibly even chosen as the future of hockey. The generational label has become overused. Many insiders in the game will tell you, but not in this instance. They compare him to Sidney Crosby of Pittsburgh and Connor McDavid of Edmonton, the first overall picks in the 2005 and 2015 drafts, respectively. Bedard received exceptional player status 2 years ago, making him the first player in WHL history to be able to compete against players as old as 20, even at the age of 15. The Regina coach John Paddock suggested that Bedard is a step up from 2 recent Hart Trophy winners, the NHL's most valuable player. Former Winnipeg Jets and Ottawa Senators head coach Paddock compared him to Nikita Kucherov and Patrick Kane, but noted that he could end up being a better goal scorer. When I consider coaching a talent like this, there are times when I have to pinch myself. Former NHL general manager and scout Craig Button compared Bedard to Hall of Famer Steve Yzerman, who led the Detroit Red Wings to 3 Stanley Cup victories. Connor has all the talent, but what strikes me is his intensity, similar to Stevie Y's, and killer instinct, according to Button, who covers junior hockey and the entry draft for the Canadian TSN network. A 16-year-old could easily be turned off by such talk, but Bedard seems numb to it. Since he first began skating with NHL players in their off-season practices when he was 12 years old, he has at least been exposed to it, he said. "I was that annoying little kid out there when I skated with them once that summer. I practically skated with them every day they had ice when I was 14 years old." Professionals such as Ryan Nugent-Hopkins of Edmonton, a 2011 first-round pick, and Matthew Barzal of the New York Islanders began texting Bedard to gather players for practices and games. Those practices gave Bedard an understanding of the speed and skill of NHL play, but the league's administrative side, particularly pre-draft interviews, puts a lot of gifted teenagers under pressure. As a result, Don Sweeney of the Boston Bruins, Kyle Davidson of the Chicago Blackhawks, and Steve Yzerman, who is currently working in the Red Wings front office, were the 3 NHL general managers with whom Newport News Management, the agency representing Bedard, set up interviews for its client. The most tiring experience for Bedard was a one-on-one interview with Yzerman. He asked a lot of questions during our 45-minute conversation, according to Bedard. By the time it was over, it probably resembled a conversation more than an interview. I questioned him, and he responded with some guidance on the match and the league. Although it might appear that the general managers Bedard spoke with were gathering information for the upcoming draft, Newport's founder Don Meehan advised against doing so. "It just so happened that they were staying at our hotel. We requested that they speak with Connor for a while." Newport has previously done this. Meehan cited 2007 as an example, the year the agency sent Steven Stamkos and Drew Doughty to the draft. With Steven and Drew, the procedure was essentially the same, according to Meehan. "We believe that allowing exceptional players to attend the draft and become accustomed to the occasion, speaking with the media and executives, is a good idea." It might be difficult to think that a prospect's draft capital could be affected by an interview. The potential for a regrettable remark to harm an undeveloped professional career. However, that is exactly how the draft went down, which Bedard watched Thursday night. Shane Wright, a center with the Kingston Frontenacs of the Ontario Hockey League, was predicted to be the front-runner to be selected first overall at the start of the 2021-22 season. Wright had a respectable but unspectacular season, and NHL scouts started to lose interest in him. Wright was subject to criticism and even ridicule, but it wasn't because of a poor performance or a slump. Rather, it was because of a regrettable remark he made in an interview with the NHL website. Wright said to NHL.com in May, "I think that based on all the work in the past year, and in my own past as well, I think that I deserve to be the first overall pick. I deserve that honor. I think I'm the best player in this draft, and I think I should go first overall," he said. One scout remarked, "His use of the word deserve was a major warning sign. This is simply the wrong word, really." The Montreal Canadiens passed over Wright in favor of Slovakia's Juraj Slafkovský, a left winger. General manager of the Canadiens, Kent Hughes, claimed in an interview with Sportsnet shortly after the selection that a meeting with Slafkovský the day before the draft had made the team's decision. "Although we were leaning towards Juraj," Hughes said, "we still wanted to meet him." The Seattle Kraken ultimately selected a repentant Wright with the 4th pick. Given Bedard's performances up to this point, it seems unlikely that the top pick in next year's draft will be decided by a quick response in a prospect interview. The teen's logger father, Tom Bedard, had high hopes for his son's performance in team interviews back in North Vancouver. For a long time, Connor was the youngest child present, and Tom Bedard noted that Connor is typically a quiet person. He has grown more at ease speaking up and expressing his thoughts over the past year or so as part of his maturation process. "There is no aspect of the game that doesn't point to him being a star in the league," said Paddock, the Regina coach. "That includes the way he conducts himself off the ice. He puts in a lot of effort, solves problems, and just finds new ways to wow you." As Bedard worked on the specifics of the NHL game that takes place off the ice, the fortunes of draft-eligible players in Montreal either skyrocketed or plummeted. Since choosing his own number, the 98, Connor Bedard has consistently posted impressive results. Since his early days in the game, Bedard has worn that jersey number. Individually, Bedard has impressive skating, hands, and hockey intelligence. He is an exceptional offensive player because of the harmony of all of them working together. He appears to be playing fast forward while actually watching a play develop in slow motion in front of him. Everything he does revolves around playing at breakneck speed and making defenders make errors. He advances up the middle of the ice without pausing, forcing defenders to quickly communicate their coverages visually. What would you do with the rest of the team if the Isles were to acquire one of those players because they advanced in the lottery? I'm curious to know what you fine people think. Given the contract lengths and trade protection, I think they should probably try it again with some of the core players. However, an influx of talent of that caliber might be exactly what this team needs to get over the finish line. Or perhaps it will be too late when they arrive. With that said, we conclude the video here. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and spread the word about it to your friends. Thanks for watching.